Hey y'all, I hope you're doing well today and that you're getting ready for an exciting Labor Day weekend. And I just want to give a quick preview of our Sunday lesson. We'll be talking about Hebrews chapter 2, verses 5 through 9. And we'll really be spending a lot of attention and time just on the ruling and reigning of Christ and how he is supreme to all things. But this passage talks about how Jesus humbled himself and became a little lower than the angels for a little while. And so we're going to spend some time just discussing that. The main point of this whole passage is to actually quote from Psalms chapter 8, where it talks about what is man that you are mindful of him, and the Son of Man that you visited him. And then it goes on to describe how Christ has put all these things under man. And the author of Hebrews has taken this passage and has made it to be a reference to Christ and to Christ's incarnation and him coming down and to rule and to reign and to actually be able to provide salvation for us by coming down. In fact, we see that in verse 9 where it tells us that we do see him who was made for a little while lower than the angels, namely Jesus, because of his suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, so that by the grace of God he might taste death for everyone. And so we're going to go through this and have a good discussion about Christ doing that, talk about the incredibleness of Christ loving us so much that he would come to earth and live that way. But then we're going to talk about a couple of things that are just means of encouragement to us, and three real lessons we can learn from Christ in this passage. First of all, we see that all things have already been submitted to Christ at his exaltation to the right hand of God. Like, he's already been exalted. He's already ruling and reigning at the right hand of God. He's already there. Secondly, that all things are under the rule of Christ right now. However, it may not be fully understood that is, but it will one day be. At the end of the age, every knee will bow, and every person will recognize that he is God. And then thirdly, that we should focus on the example of Christ, who endured hardships as he was walking upon this earth, knowing that he was the ruler and the reigner, and yet he subjected himself to go through all these trials, and he endured. And so we should have endurance in the midst of this too. You know, in light of a lot of the current cultural things that are going on, I think we can have a really good discussion just upon the encouragement that comes from knowing that Christ has been reigning, that Christ currently is reigning, that one day everybody will recognize that Christ is reigning and Christ is the ruler. And as a result of that, it should give us endurance and should help us to keep our eyes focused on the prize. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope that you're able to spend a little bit of extra family time and enjoy a little bit of fun. Try not to sweat to death as it's supposed to be like in the 90s, but I look forward to seeing you guys on Sunday and watching how God can use this lesson and your service in the lives of our teens.